following episode contains explicit content. You've been warned.
I mean, I was just like, what the who the fuck is this? Like, who the fuck is
from episode one?
Yeah, like
Better Know a Jaxon to today.
Everybody wants to be something they're not and have shit they ain't got. Don't be a dick. Don't be an asshole. Just be nice. You don't have to be that guy. Show some respect. Just be a person. Love one another.
Oh, welcome to another exciting edition of Brain Snacks Remote Show. How you doing, Jaxon?
I'm doing all right, man. Just hanging in there. How about you?
Same. Very, very much the same. Did not get much rest last week, as I talked about in the previous episode. Had a long weekend, but a good weekend. I got a really cool gift that I guess I'll talk some about the meaning that this gift had.
Oh, cool. What's up?
And a very, very small trinket. So we played in Russellville, Alabama for the Watermelon Festival.
Dude, side note, Nicole and I have eaten probably 7 or 8 watermelons this summer, which is like a record for me for summer.
I had a pretty big slice of watermelon on Friday.
Did you forget
that festival?
Did you forget how fucking good it is?
Well, because again, we're VIPs, obviously.
Well, of course.
No, this was like super ripe, like uber sweet, just added a little bit of salt to it. And
So good.
So good. But I'll check this out. I'll take this off real quick. But we were playing this show, and it's all ages festival show. Really cool. There's this company out of Florence, Muscle Shoals area called Sweet Tree. They handled the staging and production. So they brought in this big mobile stage, and then PA, trussing, lighting, the whole nine. So very easy show for us, backline only.
Oh, yeah.
And again, they are super pros. I don't know who listens to this that might need a sound company or staging, but definitely would 100% recommend Sweet Tree out of Florence, Muscle Shoals. But when we play these festival gigs, or at least outdoor all ages shows, it's really the highlight of my career, because I really enjoy seeing the response from kids.
Oh, yeah.
So and they all want your attention at the same time, and it's just fun. It tickles me to death. Because it's like a magical experience, because most of them have never seen a full rock show before. But this one kid insisted that he give me this. So I did my whole, I'm going to fret some notes now. And I put out my hand, and he put this on. I don't know if it'll focus in on it. Can you read it? It says, "Know your worth."
Oh, cool. You said okay, so hold on. So the kid
some
put
kid
it on you?
Yeah, I had him put it on me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what it said
you
at
said
first.
You were going to fret with your hand and not use your picking hand. Okay.
Yeah. And he, so I held my hand out, and he...
Well, isn't that cool as shit? That's pretty cool.
But it's, know your worth. And I don't know if that's, a sign from a higher power or the universe or whatever, but I'm just like, know your worth. I was like, is that something that I needed to hear that day?
Yeah.
Because I haven't been in the worst of moods, but I definitely wasn't on my A game as far as my moods went. And whenever I saw that after we finished that song and I adjusted it so it wasn't all, again, wrapped up on my hand, I straightened it out, and I was like, know your worth. And it looks like there's a dove on it and a mountain.
That's cool, man.
And I just went, this kid didn't. Oh, yeah, why me? The bass player especially is like, Chase is, doing his high kicks and his guitar solos, and I'm just mohawking, jumping around. But I was just like, again, maybe a higher power reaching out, going, hey, here's a reminder.
That's cool.
You are worthy to have, the life that you have. And perhaps you underestimate your abilities, and perhaps you need to reevaluate some things. Doesn't mean I shouldn't be appreciative. This is the interpretation I got from this. Is that, I should be appreciative of what I have, but also don't sell myself short.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some reevaluation that needs to be done on what I value myself as.
Yeah.
What I see myself worth being.
Yeah, man.
So I don't know. Again, maybe that's the universe just sending me some positive karma to maybe change my mindset so I look at things from a slightly different perspective. Or maybe it was just some kid being really cool.
That's awesome. I really think that's pretty cool. And I also find it I find it interesting how what you said, and then you're thinking, oh, I'm just me, over here. I'm not doing as much as someone else. And that's so it's not really, that doesn't really pertain to the fact that you're an entertainer or anything like that. That's literally I bake a cake, take it over to my neighbor, and they're like, why me? Look, you know what I mean? I haven't done that much, you know what I mean? So that's that's crazy how that's just universal as shit, man. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
But just because of what it says, it made you stop and, reconsider those thoughts. So that's pretty cool.
It's funny. Just, I don't know how big the craze was. Maybe it was when you were super young, but
those rubber bracelets, boobies bracelets,
the Live Strong bracelets.
Yeah, we had ones that said "I love boobies" on it too. For of course, they were actually supposed to be for breast cancer awareness, but we just were boobies.
Yeah, boobies is great. I support the fight against breast cancer. Also, obviously we love boobs.
Well, you can't remove that love for boobies out of the breast cancer awareness. We love boobies. Why we don't want them to go away?
Exactly. Save the tatas, man.
Yeah, say less.
But it's wild how I don't think about, I have another wristband on here that has my brother-in-law's bar, my brother and sister-in-law's bar, Toasted Monkey Tavern, which the Chrissy and I, every time we're up there for Christmas, we usually end up playing an acoustic set Christmas night.
Cool.
Over there, which is, again, super cool. But I don't think about this, and it's like, okay, this is cool, but the fact that this came from out of nowhere, says know your worth, and again, came from a kid at a random show.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't been contemplating, my worth or value, and maybe that's the universe telling me hey, dude, time to do some more self-reflection and maybe evaluate where you are and where you want to be, and are you being undervalued? I don't know. It's weird. It's kooky, and again, I've talked about it, and I think maybe the intro episode, but it's I felt the force of a higher power, whether it's the universe, God, whatever, name your deity. But I can definitely say that I felt that a higher power at work before.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's crazy because, I've got several thoughts on that. Especially you being at work, because you're introducing people. My interpretation of what it means to be in a bar listening to a loud, powerful, maniacal, band is maniacal in the sense that it's there's flashing lights. It's like mania. It's like blah, 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 blah. It's like, what is that? Okay. What does that mean, for people? And, recently it's been something I'm thinking about, because it's literally not dealing in an absolute sense, but it's it's an impulse for a higher power. And all the wires and everything are kind of meaningless, and you loading in your equipment, you're getting ready, it sort of feels like just a regular job. But it's the second that there's that electricity between the crowd and sound and dancing and shit, you start opening up you almost open up a portal for everyone in the room to like
Yeah.
to what's always present but forgotten.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're opening up a portal in like a nerdy sense, but like it's not surprising that you feel very present and very like, you know, you kind of lose yourself in the rhythm of things and just sort of feel that higher power that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's a service that is overlooked, I think, and passed off as like you know, self-interested or not important. And I think that couldn't be further from the truth. That's how I feel about it.
Well, entertainment is always going to be an important factor.
Yeah, whether it's a movie or whatever.
Well, just due to the nature of, you know, the general nature of human lifestyle is that we work so hard that we need a distraction from our everyday woes. And that's what entertainment does. It's almost like it's an escape from your, you know, negative reality, even if it's just for a little bit.
Yeah.
And the fact that's why people consume drugs and alcohol. It's always an escape. It's just trying to get away from the current things that occupy our minds and occupy our attention.
Right.
So I love the fact that I'm an entertainer. Again, I can't stress that enough. I love the fact that that's what I get to do for a living. I love that our podcast is slowly but surely growing in listenership and viewership. Hopefully people are still getting something out of this, but I still don't really care as long as one person gets something out of it, and that could be you or me or a listener.
Yeah.
You know, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling myself
For sure, dude.
as it were.
I was actually,
I
was actually thinking about that earlier. I was when we were thinking about what to talk about today. I was setting up this stuff and like, you know, setting up, like I went and got some lighting to like do this blue lighting in the background and like everything like that. And I'm like, kind of, you know, it's nothing. I'm trying to get this thing right. And I'm sure people can relate to at home. It's like when you're working on something and while you're working on it, you sort of are like, what the fuck am I doing? Or you're like, what is the fucking purpose of that? Like you just sort of think like, well, you know, I don't know. I at least sort of have been stopping and been like, well, you know, literally daily trying to ask myself those questions. Like, what am I actually doing? And
to what ends?
Yeah. Like, am I doing this for like, I just want to know, you know, within myself, if like there's any kind of selfish, self-interest in it. Like, I'm not saying I don't want, you know, to be successful, or I don't want to do this because of me or you or anything. But for me, like myself, like just making sure that I keep touching base with what's the value for me, like, and it's literally not for anyone else. It's for me. It's like, what is the value of podcasting? And then I start thinking, well, you know, I listen to podcasts every single day, and they allow the opportunity to literally hang out with, you know, virtually hang out with just about anybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether or not there's something that you're jiving with on our frequency or with us is like really not the point. It's just that we are a frequency and we are two humans, and we, it's almost like a duty to like put it out there, because it could be one sentence or something could potentially have ripples or something like that, you know. And
the whole butterfly effect.
I constantly am like thinking about that. Probably too much, to be honest with you. I probably think about that way too much.
Well, it's healthy. It's healthy to have respect for how our actions or how our words can impact other people. And not enough people actively think about it. But it's also important to know and understand that although our words and actions do have implications for other people, we're not responsible for how other people respond.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
So whether it's they respond in a positive way or a negative way, that's not on us. That's on the person listening.
Right.
And that's what a lot of mentality that people get caught up in nowadays, especially again with just the climate of today, is that people focus too much on the negativity, the negative side, and they don't want to see it's like, okay, well these two douchebags that are having this conversation, this podcast, they could potentially just be, they could be racist, there could be liberals, they could be conservatives, whatever. And they want to throw a label on it and they want to hate on it just because they're not willing to admit to themselves that they are too scared or don't have the capacity or ability to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
To be a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, no. Couldn't agree more. That's part of like the neuroses in my head is like seeing social media and like the sort of meme-ness of doing a podcast now. How it's like, hey, check out my podcast. We're going to fire up these cameras and me and my bros are going to talk about everything that's wrong with the world. It's like, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Not for me. I mean, it may coincidentally line up to where that works out for someone's argument. And they're like, oh, this is exactly what they're doing right now. But does that take away from the, like, there is a reality to this that isn't in that like, that's just an aspect to doing podcasts. Like, it's not to give me a puff and make me like, oh, I'm going to I don't think there's 100,000 people just anxiously awaiting to hear what I have to say about XYZ. It's not like, it's not about that. And nor does this podcast necessarily help anything. You know what I mean? Like it's something different. It's like, at least for me, it's something way different.
Well, the way I'm looking at it as the show is evolving and as we start doing these remote recordings on a more regular basis, on a more consistent basis, the way that I find to keep the conversation, not necessarily light, but more natural, maybe the better word, is just to pretty much, here's a brief recap of where my mind is at based on my experiences this week and how I think I handled the situation and what messages I feel like I received and how that could pertain to somebody else's life. That's not necessarily us giving you advice. That's just us letting a viewer or listener know, or me, in this case, letting you know how I interpreted the universe speaking to me.
Yeah, precisely. And speaking on the evolution of the podcast, I had this wild hair the other night. I think I was actually like laying on the couch, eating junk food, like just way down, and
that was me last night,
and watching fucking YouTube into oblivion when I should have been sleeping. And I wanted to, I don't know. I just clicked on, I searched brain snacks and I was like, going to watch a rant. Cause I don't really watch them. And I really don't. And I know you do because of editing and things like that, but I don't really watch them. And I watched our episode with Lou Burdett, and I watched a couple other ones, and then I watched the first one with the intro to me, and I was struck by how even just a micro level, I know myself, so I know that. I mean, I was just like, "What the? Who the fuck is this? Like, who the fuck is
from episode one?
Yeah, like
Better Know a Jaxon to today.
Well, I mean, was that
one of the more recent episodes?
Yeah, and I'm just like, who is like? I feel like I just got dragged. Looked like I just got dragged in there at gunpoint. Like.
I mean, it wasn't a gunpoint.
No,
there may have been a knife involved. I don't know.
Maybe, but like. I don't know. I sort of felt this kind of wash of just different like kind of emotions, but also just I don't know. I felt like a warmth about it, where I was like, I could almost like I had just enough distance from it to where I can actually look at it and be like accepting of myself. Kind of accepting that's where I was, and not to pretend that I'm too far from it, but also to be like, wow, this is it's pretty cool. If for nothing else than that's pretty cool.
Well, it's a lot like just getting your reps in with, playing drums, getting your chops up.
Yeah.
If we didn't switch to doing this remote recording series, and this, you can apply this for the listeners or viewers, you can apply this to your own life, whatever you want to do, whether it's homicide or, art.
Humanitarian.
I mean, art can be homicide. Homicide can be art, I guess, if you're really twisted.
That's high art.
But it's the repetition. The more reps you put into something, the more comfortable you are doing it. Doesn't necessarily mean you get any better if you don't change the way you do something. If you practice the same thing the same way for so long, you're not going to necessarily see any measurable growth. But if you keep showing up every day and you keep trying just a little harder to be a better version of yourself or be more open in a conversation, in our case, then the conversation flows more freely. You don't feel quite so self-conscious about the way you speak. And then you start picking up some of these fucking filler words that we fucking use all the fucking time, because that's how we fucking do. Well, we're both guilty of it. And the reason we do it is because that's the culture that we grew up in, especially it being like a rock musician. It's just kind of one of those things, and it's not necessarily a good thing or bad thing, because usually when we start dropping those filler words like fucking, we're using them as an adjective or a verb, even a noun, because we get animated about it. And we're not so worried about, being politically correct or not offending anybody. We just want to get our point across because we're so excited about talking about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's in a positive light or a negative light. Cause I know that when I went off on my Machine Gun Kelly rant, that's just a fucking twink, fucking asshole. Like, it's not that I was excited in a good way or a bad way. It's just like, I was just like, God, I can't believe that anybody actually pays attention to this asshole.
Yeah.
Like, he's not trying to be a positive force in the world.
Yeah.
From what I can see, and then I'm just like, oh, you fucking, yeah. But that's also my bias and some of my jealousy showing through those filler words because of my excitement.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
I wish I had the reach that a Machine Gun Kelly had, but I don't
actually, well, do you though? Honestly,
potentially in the future. Well, I don't know.
Potentially in the future, but do you actually, like, for me, I think about that sometimes because that's a very seductive thought to think, more listeners, more this, almost as if you could skip to the end.
Yeah.
But would you not get a bellyache from that? Or would your stomach not hurt from that? Because it's just like being a child star or something. It's like, wouldn't you not actually want the dessert just yet? Because it'll make you you'll get speed wobbles. And it could be the difference between something that's sustainable or something that comes as a flash in a pot because it's like the I'm not sure how to say it, but it almost could break us. It could break me for sure,
Oh, the weight of having too many people's attention.
Yeah, just having the luxury to hit softballs and not be bombarded with bricks.
Well, I mean, people are definitely throwing bricks and they're throwing shade on MGK all day.
Yeah,
but again, even being the low level quasi celebrity that I am playing with the Pygmies, I mean, there's definitely, I feel the pressure. I feel the weight from time to time because people, as much influence as I may have over some people, it's also that people want my attention. So people want to monopolize my attention whenever I'm out playing a show, or even on a random occasion when Chrissy and I actually go out and just hang out. People still want to sit down and talk to me. Not, sometimes it's like they want to hang out with Max, but sometimes they want to hang out with Maximus Hawk.
Yeah.
And like, dude, Maximus Hawk is not just my, that's still me, but it's a different version of me. That's show me. That's not, hey, I'm going out and I'm checking out a band.
Yeah.
As a participant, not an entertainer.
Yeah, there's a big difference there.
Mm-hmm. And I think this podcast helps me separate the two in a much better way. And I've been promoting this via the Velcro Pygmies page, like a madman, and we've seen some measurable success in my attempts to hack the Facebook algorithm. But I'm going to start doing a little bit more. I'm still going to do live feeds and stuff from the Pygmies page, but I'm going to start using my own personal page and the Brain Snacks page more often. Just to switch it up, because I don't want to bombard the Velcro Pygmies audience with just nothing but Brain Snacks. And then I go, oh yeah, by the way, the Pygmies are here Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
I want to respect the fan base that the Pygmies have, but also at the same time,
you are a pygmy too. So it's kind of this fine line you can dance with.
Yeah,
of course.
But going back to, again, the repetitions, like measure, like in a way, this podcast also helps us measure our progress and growth, because we're not just, talking shit the whole time. We're actually diving into,
we're not,
well, I mean, obviously we always are, but we're actually diving in and talking about different topics that either concern us or problems that we've dealt with and how we plan on dealing with them in the future, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. And
it's cool that we can go back and that we're doing this podcast while having these conversations, because it's a way to measure our progress, and not just our ability to have conversations, but also to go back and, look at the way I told my story in the beginning from episode 2, the way that you told your story in episode 1. It's like, we're the same people with the same experiences, just we have more experiences now.
Right. Even
means,
if it's just by a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, again, I can definitely attest that I have grown a lot in, the way that I conceptualize or visualize the world and the universe and the people around me. And I've made a very huge effort to make sure that I maintain surrounding myself with positive influences and positive people as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
There's just certain days that it's just, and also I'm still trying to learn the lesson. 7 years sober, every time I'm in a bar playing a show, I still have to I have to remind myself to be thankful that I still get to play music and do what I do for a living and love it, own it, and enjoy it, because it is really difficult to deal with super drunk people when I'm 100% sober.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
That's like, that's got to be a big deterrent for you to ever do it yourself again, just to see, like, this is how I was potentially.
Yeah. Well, also, I
like, did I know I was being this fucking stupid or annoying?
Well, it's not that these people are annoying. It's that people don't understand or have a concept of what, especially when they're severely inebriated, they don't understand that we actually have a job to do.
Right.
Outside of playing the show, we don't have a load in, load out crew. And I'm not a freaking vampire like Cam is. Like, I can't survive on 4 hours of sleep a day. I need more. So when we finish a show at 1:30, I want to have the truck loaded and I want to be at the hotel by 2:30. And sometimes that's completely unrealistic. But if I have somebody trying to jaw my ear off for 45 minutes after the show, I don't want them to feel like I'm ungrateful for them coming to the show.
Yeah.
I don't. But at the same time, I need to make sure that I have enough rest to travel the next day, set up, do the whole thing again.
You've got
but also maintain the level of performance that I can be proud of.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and that's different for everybody. Like, I mean, Cam is sort of a different animal in that regard, and he's the he's the cheerleader, You know, he's gonna do that. You know, you got those dynamics in the band, and just for different players. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else I had to say on that, but definitely understand that. I don't know how we got here.
But we got here by talking about measuring our progress.
Yes.
And
you trying to remain aware in your daily. Yes.
Remain aware and remain grateful that I still get to do what I love to do. I love to perform. I love to entertain. I love to play music. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have its caveats and downsides.
Of course.
But it's also, again, that's a personal thing with me because now that I'm sober. Doesn't mean that I don't want to talk to people because I would love to sit there and talk to people for 3 hours after a show. But it's just not realistic in order to maintain the level of performance that I personally want to have.
Yeah, I understand that 100%.
But it's also, I had made this point that led up to that whole sidebar, which still, again, everything's connected. It's just showing up every day. So we get together now once a week, usually on Mondays, always time willing, but we get together on Mondays and we record. So we're showing up every week.
Yeah. So
we have an appointment.
Exactly.
There's nothing else going on between the 6-ish hour to 7:30, 8 o'clock hour.
Yep.
That's time that's mentally blocked off. Again, not a hard 6. We always go with soft 6. Ask my wife about the soft 6.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah.
All right.
That right there. I mean, it's it could be applied to just about anything, but just for us, it just so happens to be this. And you know, hopefully we don't ever lose sight of that. Hopefully it doesn't ever become about anything else, which I don't foresee that it would.
I don't either. And it's just about showing up and getting the reps in and just maintaining our current trajectory and current growth and current conversation.
People are probably
angles.
fucking tired as hell of hearing us say that because we've been harping on that. But I mean, I genuinely just mean it. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like it's only been a few weeks since we started, and I can't praise enough of just, you know, when you see people lose a lot of weight or whatever, and it's just because they showed up and did the hard thing. And it's funny how that fucking works. You know, I much the same. It's just a very nice, even for me, it's a baby step of awareness of saying, wow, it just feels nice to be showing up. And that's, you know, if that's where I'm at, that's where I'm at, you know?
Yeah. It's good. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good that we have a set schedule. Again, it's consistency in life is always, again, we are naturally creatures of habit. That's what we do. We eat, sleep, fuck, shit, shower. I mean, most of us shower. I had to shower right before we started. But just because I didn't want you to smell me through the microphone and camera. But it's that consistency that we're actually, now we're 5 weeks in. This is episode 5. And we've done like 7 recordings, 2 of which we lost audio on one and the other one for whatever reason.
I can't remember what happened to it.
There was some other issue, or no, we had
no, I wasn't recording at all.
That's what it was.
It just didn't happen.
So yeah, but now that we're getting the reps in, it's getting more, again, the post-production process is much faster, more rapid.
Yep.
And it just makes for faster content, more consistent content. And also, again, I think it just helps us be better communicators with each other.
For sure.
We aren't necessarily like speaking over each other. We're not having, that's the big one. is that we don't speak over each other. We do that a little bit, and like when we're in the full room setting and we don't have headphones on, we do talk over each other every once in a while, but it's not that often. But it's like I said, our communication with each other, at least, is getting better.
I think so too. And I personally like it because I have like some crippling social anxiety that likes to invade, and I sometimes this is like training wheels for IRL interaction with people. So, man, I just thinking, man, just that first podcast of just how I was just everything about my mannerism and bothered me, and it'll probably bother me. This video right here, it'll bother me in a month or two, but it's just crazy. It's like that's the funny thing about being a person, is that when you're in that, you're just doing whatever you feel like you need to do to get through that, whether it's just to get through the day or get through this. But if you don't give yourself the headroom and the space inside and sort of this inner, like the inner space to play around or choose your destiny, so to speak, and you're just getting the default shit. It's funny to check out what your default is like. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
My default setting is just keep myself occupied, keep my hands occupied, keep my mind occupied. Yeah. And that's kind of an ADD thing, but it's also like, for instance, the reason I had to shower, I literally texted you, I was like, let's say 6:15 because I got to wash the sawdust off me. Well, I got this I talked about it in a previous episode, how I got this brand new, new to me bass rig. So I've got this super sweet bass head that doesn't have a case for it. And the drummer for the Pygmies, Chris, he actually builds cases for like a lot of people.
Are you just pre-cutting it for him or something?
Well, he didn't have time to make me a case. He also, I don't think he has a whole lot of material right now because of the supply chain issues that are coming in from, we're not coming in from China. So I decided, I was just like, look, he gave me some rack rails. For those of you that don't know, my bass amp, I can mount it in a case, but I need rack mounts for it. So he gave me some rack mounts that he had just sitting around his house or his shop. And I spent yesterday afternoon and part of today building what equates to like a 4-space rack. And it looks good. I mean, it's a box.
What's yeah. It's basically what it is, but like
I built a wood box.
Is it the I don't know what you call it. The fucking plastic sheets that go on.
No, it's not laminated. No. It's not laminated plywood. I went to Lowe's.
Yeah,
and got some half-inch poplar, I think what it was. The wood I could have done it at a pine, but I don't have a vehicle where I can haul a 4x8 sheet of plywood. I could probably do it in my van, but the van, I need to get a new battery for the van. It's a whole nother issue. Yeah. But I could fit 2 foot by 4 foot sheets, which was pre-cut and pre-sanded in the back of my car. So I was like, I'll do that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing man carpentry.
Man, I'm a man.
You say man work. Like, honestly, when I did search a couple of YouTube videos because I have a table saw and all this other crap that I don't really use enough to really be proficient with using it. Half the videos on YouTube are of female carpenters, and they do some amazeballs stuff. So I would like to say it's like, yeah, I'm doing some man work, but I'm like, some of these girls are beating the brakes off of some of these dudes when it comes to carpentry.
Yeah.
So ladies, don't let anybody tell you can't be a carpenter.
Right.
Because there's some ladies out there that are crushing it, and they do it well, looking good.
Sassy, man. Hey, that's what's up.
Hey, I'll tell you what would you rather watch? Some manly man with a big burly guy with a beard cutting some plywood down, or some girl in some yoga pants and a tight tank top?
Well, I'm going to go B, right? You know that, right? You already knew that. So
I'm going to go A because I'm a bear guy.
Okay. Well, look, man,
Rawr.
it's all right. You can join. You can probably join a Facebook group for that or something.
Oh, there's definitely a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Is that like your lounge lizard? Not your lounge lizard, your truck stop lizard?
A lot lizard.
Facebook group? The lot lizard group.
Yeah. I'm actually moving up the ladder over there.
You're moving up. Are you an admin on the lot lizard group?
Yeah,
now?
it's actually getting out of hand. I can't support the lie any longer.
Oh, you guys got to unionize. You got to get them unionized so you can actually get some better. Inflation's here, man. You got to start charging more.
Yeah, I know. I actually, what you can't see off camera is my CB radio. That's how I sort of coordinate all this stuff. But
oh, Papa Bear, this is Smokey.
yes, my reptilian other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
so yeah, I think for this episode is again just know your worth. That's always a good message that the universe put out to me, at least this week. Do some soul searching, do some self-evaluation, make sure that you appreciate what you're worth, and don't undersell yourself. But potentially even more importantly, don't oversell yourself.
that's worse than
Because it's real easy to go, I'm the shit. Whereas you can go, no, I am worth more than this, but that doesn't mean that I'm above anybody else.
absolutely, man.
So
And
you
also,
can you can keep competitive mindset as long as you're competing with yourself. Always compete with the person you were yesterday.
truth.
And then
bombs over there.
what the other one is by measuring it. If you don't have a podcast and you don't want to start a podcast, but you want to try to start measuring how much you've changed as a person, maybe start journaling.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
actually been toying with the idea of starting to journal.
I have two actually.
So start journaling and then go back.
I was gifted this journal to start writing in.
Nice.
The great Matthew McConaughey. He did a like goofy little video on it or something about journaling that really struck me. What he said. He said when you think about journaling, it's the same as when you think about creating anything. But when you see that blank page and you just think, I have to do something. I have to write something that's good, or I have to write something of merit or whatever. And no, you just write, and you draw or you scribble, or like, it's almost like any information that you put down on the page could potentially be used for you to get what you want to get out of journaling. Whether you just discover a pattern of thinking or anything, like just the fact that you were afraid to do it is information in itself, and you want to document that shit, you know?
Also, I think you had mentioned the journaling thing before, and I just made that parallel with journaling, just to again make the comparison to our first episode with your introduction series to now, or some of the more recent episodes.
Digital journal
as a way to measure how you've changed as just a podcaster and co-host. But even in the aspect of journaling, and for us, one of the things, again, this is how it still parallels with journaling, is it allows us to get some of the clutter that's in our mind that's occupying, or like that may not even be consciously aware is floating around in there and taking up too much space and too much bandwidth. Just getting it out onto paper, or in our case, out into a podcast, goes a long way to just having a little bit of peace of mind and just a little bit less clutter going on in here, less to think about.
a little more, and you get them a little more distance between you and it.
Yes. So dude, let me know how the journaling goes. I would love to. That's a great idea. I would love to start doing something like that.
Well, we're doing it like we're actually doing it now, though. Like every Monday we get together and do a digital journal. It just like the difference would be my journal and only my journal, and your journal and only your journal. This is like somehow weirdly twined together.
Digital journal therapy.
Yeah, it's like it's just like that. So we're already sort of doing it.
Yeah, I can get behind that concept.
Yeah. I mean, because you can watch it. Like, okay, one more thing before we get out of here. So when I was talking about setting all this stuff up and some of my thoughts about it, I realized once I changed shirts because I didn't like the way the other one looked and that sort of that's the kind of goofy shit I'm talking about where I'm like, well, what am I trying to do? Like, why do I care? Like, whatever. But I realized that it had been recording the whole time. And so I was like, oh yeah. So I was like, wait, I wanted to watch it and I watched it. I got, made sure I was like, well, I can make sure the audio works and all that. And I watched it and I just saw myself like going through what I had just went through a couple of minutes before. It was like 30 minutes long. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just watched it. And it was this weird thing where I'm like, I felt like I was in an echo chamber with myself because it had just happened and I was just there, not physically, but metaphysically. I was just there. And now I'm here watching me there. And it was just goofy and sort of weird. I might actually fucking post some of it just for the fun of it. But I at the end of it, I just laughed. Like spontaneously laughed, and that raised my vibration enough to actually get in here and do the podcast with you. So in real time, basically virtually real time, that digital journal of that moment helped me get away from the moment and not bring so much. I brought some of it, but not so much of it into here to where I was carrying it with me so much. In the laughter, I sort of let it on go. It was just off you fuck moment, So
oh, that's awesome.
It was pretty cool.
That is cool. So yeah, guys. Again, do some self-evaluation. Again, I think the universe gave me a great piece of advice. Know your worth. Whatever means you need to do to figure out that. Again, I can't tell you how to live your life, but I can tell you if you think about it long enough, you can probably figure it out.
Or go insane.
Oh, I mean, define sane.
Okay.
Doing a podcast. I mean, is this sane? Sharing our thoughts and life lessons.
I don't know.
Do sane people do that? Do sane people play music for a living?
I don't know. I don't care.
No, just saying.
I don't care.
It doesn't really matter. But also, again, maybe you want to start journaling, track your progress. And if you're going to start journaling, just with you should do with anything that you want to take seriously in your life, show up every day. Well, we're not doing this podcast every day, but I'm in one way, shape, or form. I think about what we do with the podcast, at least for a tiny bit every day.
Me too. And that used to not be that. It used to not be that, but especially when I'm down, it's almost that I make a mental note and I'm like, oh wow, I know I'm going to have this podcast coming up. So I just sort of remind myself, like it's almost like I get a opportunity to like take a picture in my mind.
Yeah. So. And that's a healthy thing to do, a healthy thing to apply to anything you want to do in life. You're not going to be great at anything immediately. You're not going to be an instant success unless you're I'm not going to say a freak of nature, but like a fluke, because the vast majority of people aren't going to have a video or a podcast that goes viral overnight. Now, I'm not saying that we'll ever be, again, what would be considered monetarily successful as a podcast, but if we keep showing up and we keep having these conversations on a consistent basis and we try to better not just ourselves, but the show on a consistent basis, then it's going to get better.
Undoubtedly.
It can't help but get better. So yeah, you guys don't stop trying out there. Keep going. Find something you're passionate about. Show up every day for it.
Absolutely.
Show up every day for yourself. And again, know your worth. You're worth something to somebody, even if that somebody's just yourself.
Even if it's just 3 pennies.
I'll take my 2 cents. That's all I got.
All right, guys.
But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one. Be sure to go to brainsnackspodcast.com, subscribe to our newsletter, where I promise I will put one out this week because I have been slacking. Much love to you guys. Y'all have a good one. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Peace.